Long time no see, everyone. It's your old mate Cargon back at it again, this time with a closer look at these. A pair of Rick Owens sock creeper boots. Now, as always, if you're enjoying the content, don't forget to like and subscribe, and also the Discord link is in the description below if you'd like to join the community outside of your regular YouTube hours. So, another pair of Rick Owens shoes, you may ask, and I say to that, yes, I've had these for a bit of time now. I actually found these on Japanese Mercari for an excellent price. I'd never really seen much of this sock pair of creepers before, and the price was actually pretty fantastic. Got them legit checked and everything, and did pick them up because I do really like my sock Ramones. So picked them up, they arrived, and would you believe that there wasn't a significant amount of damage to them as I've had with other Rick pieces in the past. So these shoes arrived, and the only real issue with them was the heel. So as with like most shoes just in general, the heel is where the shoe initially starts to wear down the most. And what is really cool about a pair of Rick Creeper boots, as you can sort of see here, is that the sole, it's not a sneaker sole. It's not just the whole thing that's sewn in. You can replace this. You can replace this shark tooth. And so I just took them in and they replaced the shark tooth at the back, just with a little bit of a commando sole, which, you know, doesn't necessarily match right now, but it makes them have a lot more life, which is really, really good. In my opinion. I mean, unless you like your shoes falling apart, well then, you do you. You do you. So got these fixed up, and honestly, these aren't particularly my jam, but I'll get into my own personal opinion about them later on. Let's just have a look at the shoes first. So these are made from a lamb leather with a lovely texture to them throughout, and differences from, say, a pair of sock Ramones is that we do not have a toe cap. It is just the one piece of leather the whole way through. There is a bit of reinforcement in the toe area as well, though. It's not like a steel toe or anything, but it is more structurally sound there compared to the rest of the shoe. I've got booty shapers in here, otherwise they'd just be floppy. Wouldn't be as aesthetic to look at. We can see the sewing at the top. It's a little bit undone around here, but otherwise there's not really any structural damage. The shoes overall are very, very sleek. They have a very stealthy look to them, and they stack very, very nicely. They sort of evoke, to me at least personally, the kind of like, you know, coveted Guidi stacking effect that you get on a lot of pairs of their boots. Obviously, these are not as structurally sound as a pair of those, but they still look quite nice on foot with the stacking, you know, across the... What's the front of your foot called? Like the instep towards ankle and above area. We can see the regular sort of back section here, which is very, very similar to the sock Ramones as well. This does have a little bit of reinforcement, but as you do wear them, this wears down and sort of into your foot and the way that you walk as well. The ones on my sock Ramones is pretty much ruined, but that doesn't mean they don't fit poorly. They're still quite comfortable. We can see here as well that this is in fact welted in. Right? But is it a fake welt? Well, I don't know. However, if we look at the bottom of the sole here, we do see stitching on either side, which implies, I'm not going to take at them, but it implies that this is sewn in to the top as well, which is fantastic. It means that the midsole is supposedly welted into this top part here. So the great part about that is that you can just replace the soles, like the front and back, whenever you'd like. And love this for us. It just means that these shoes will have a significant more amount of life to them than, say, a sneaker boot, because the soles are replaceable. Actually fantastic. I kind of wish that they do that with sneakers, but I suppose that also defeats the point of having sneakers as well. We can see in here the markings that these are marked as a 43. And that was one of the reasons why I was a bit apprehensive at first to pick them up, because a 43 in a sock sneaker is it's going to be big. My Ramones in 42 are big. I had a pair in 41 and they fit me quite nicely, and also fit my housemate who ended up picking those up, and they're a size 10, which is a 43. So these fit huge. I've got insoles in them and my feet are still swimming, and that's not necessarily a reflection on whether the shoe is good or bad. It's just really, really good to keep in mind that if you are looking into a pair of Rick sock sneakers, at least the sock Ramones or the sock creeper boots, they are going to fit 1 to 2 sizes big. I would always recommend sizing at least 1 size down. And then if it is still too big, you can still put an insole in, because there is a lot of space widthways and height, vertical ways around the shoe as well. So you can still get some wear out of them. They'll probably fit better if you size down one and put in an insole if they're still too big. Here is the other one for comparison. We can see that the toes are a little bit worn here, but that's nothing that a nice polish and shine can't fix up. Looking at the backs of both here as well, you can see that with the new soles as well, I've not really been wearing them. They are just very, very big. I was away for a month, so I didn't take them with me as part of that capsule, but I did try wearing them this week, and yeah, they're just huge shoes. A look at the sole here as well. As you can see, yeah, both heels were replaced. This might look awful to you, but you just have to do it. And eventually you would just potentially replace the front if you wanted to as well. You could replace that with a more tractor-like sole or a flat sole. Anything you'd really like. To be honest, world's our oyster. Cobblers are magicians and we don't give them enough credit. The thing about the creeper boots though that I did want to note is that generally a creeper sole is flat the whole way through. That's what I've always understood a creeper to be. So I'm not sure why these are distinguished as a sock creeper because they don't have the flat sole. Or maybe I'm wrong, but that is the name of this shoe. But you will definitely see other models where it is just flat the entire way around. Similar to my creeper boots where, yeah, it is just flat. It does make them quite comfortable, but you do have a different silhouette rather than having a stacked heel on the back there as well. Nevertheless, these aren't very loud to walk around in either and still look pretty neat. Here's a comparison with my sock Ramones. Looking at the front here, you can see the difference in the toe caps. And you can also see that with the Ramones, silhouette of the shoe on the Ramone is much larger and chunkier due to this sort of midsole and sole section here compared to the Creeper. Here they are sort of level, but you can see that the overall shape, the Ramones might seem a little chunkier. Here are the backs. See the heel is pretty much the same on both, and the construction on the back is very, very similar, where the leather is a bit smoother than the rest of the body as well. It just seems to be the design cue for these shoes. A look at the soles as well. I have had my heels fixed up on the Ramones because Rick sneaker heels just, the soles is just terrible. I will never stop yelling that from the trees, but they're just awful. There's a comparison of the soles there as well. So this being the Creeper, this being the Ramones, a closer look at the leather itself. We can see that they're both very, very similar overall. They basically have the same height, the same shape. Just one is a sneaker, one is a boot. So one definitely looks a bit dressier. Although I just love the toe cap on Ramones that kind of makes them a bit more casual. But if you are going for that step up, the sock Creeper boot is pretty swanky. So my overall opinion on these, aside from them being too big, is that I haven't really been able to figure out how to style them. I feel like that stacking effect looks really, really cool, and I do want to show it off, but because these are quite tall overall, tucking pants or anything in can look a bit odd because these go up quite high, and also keeping in mind that similarly to the sock Ramones that I've worn a lot, this will stretch and kind of lose its shape a bit. So my Ramones do sag a little bit at the top. So tucking any pants, it'll just look a bit odd. They never feel, to me personally, like something I can style. And I won't ramble on too long, but that's just why I don't really wear them. I don't know how to style them. And I've given them a few shots, like let them peek out of pants, or I guess best with shorts, but I would always default to preferring to wear proper boots rather than sock boots. Overall, though, these can look very, very nice dressed up. It's just something that I haven't been able to figure out. And again, with the size thing, not as motivated, because when you're walking around in shoes that you're swimming in, it's not that fun. And it can also put strain on like the construction of these as well, and potentially wear them down in a way that shouldn't be how they're worn down. And I'll just show you this. So on my sock Ramones, because they are a little big, even with an insole in there, this part here of the shoe is stretching. And I don't really think it's from like taking them on and off, but because when your foot is in there and it is kind of spinning around, instead of when you lift to walk and the shoe comes up like this, your heel comes up first and sort of gets caught up here, and then it pulls the rest of the shoe up. So this is getting pulled like this each time I walk in them. And as such, both sides are starting to see this wear there, which really is a shame. So yeah, really advising to get something that fits you properly, because this will see a lot of strain. And when you take them off, you're pulling them off from here. So it's not really pulling that as much. And, you know, the putting on, taking off action isn't all the time. So it's not as much as walking. So just something to be aware of. I'm not sure if many people have mentioned it, but yeah, just be aware of wearing the sock shoe. If it's too big, you will be putting strain on this part here that will end up over time wearing it down quicker than you'd like. But yeah, enough chit chat. Let's pop these on so you can have a look at what they look like with pants over the top and also with shorts, so you can see them creeping up the leg. Let's do it. Alright, so that's been the Rick Owens sock creeper boot. I genuinely don't know what season these are from, because they don't have the markings inside with all the numbers, and looking at other pairs of them, they don't have them either. So I'm not sure exactly when they're from. They're not very, very recent though, but they're not very, very old either. So just keep an eye out. I haven't seen many pairs around of them, but they are a pretty cool option if you are looking for that in between proper boot and sneaker boot in the form of a sock. It's very, very niche, isn't it? I just don't know how many people would be drawn to it, but they could look really, really nice if styled well. But also, you know, a lot of love and a lot of life that can be kept with them, with being able to replace the sole and all that. So honestly, that's my favorite thing about them, that you can take care of them, replace a sole, put whatever kind of sole on it, compared to sneaker ones where if anything does happen to like this completely, this entire section needs to be replaced. And that is really, really expensive, as opposed to just sort of, you know, reattaching something on the bottom. And it could also be something different too if you wanted to spice them up. Put a boost sole on them. I don't know. I keep thinking about putting boost soles on everything. I don't even know what a boost sole feels like. But yeah, that's a closer look at the Rick Owens sock creeper boots. Let me know if you have any questions. These are for sale. You can find them in the shop below. Hope you enjoyed the video and that you're taking care of yourselves wherever you may be. And remember to have fun, be safe, and above all else, to not do anything I'd do, except shoes with soles you can replace. Get on it, because you want to keep your shoes alive for as long as possible. And, circular fashion, sustainable fashion, the environment, recycling, the 3 R's. Think of them when you buy a pair of shoes. All right, y'all take care. Be safe. Bye-bye.